Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Brother Kofi again. I'm here again with another EL or English language arts vocabulary building lesson. So today we're going to talk about how to talk about personality types. So I'll give you a few different types of personalities, and the goal is not to figure out which personality type you fit into necessarily. You may fit into multiple different personality types, which is fine. But the goal is actually to understand different personality types and to build your vocabulary as we did last week. So, so I'm gonna start off by giving you all, as you know, this is more of an activity. So every week I come to you, I would like for you all to be prepared to try to get through an activity. And so I'll give you a second to get a pencil and a paper if you need. Otherwise, you can follow along with your ears and your eyes. So the first type of personality type that I have here would be a me first type of personality, in which we would call that person or that type of personality egoist. So an egoist is more of an attitude of life is simple, direct, and above board. Every decision he makes is based on the answer to one question: what's in it for me? He's selfish, greed greedy, and he's ruthless. His desire for advancement may hurt other people, and for him, that's too bad. So a person like this, we would call this person an egoist. Type number two is a very conceited type, and this type is an egotist or egotist. And this type of personality, for a brief description, this person is more of a boastful type of person. They can be obnoxious and, like I said, conceited. So their approach is more so of things like, "Oh, did I tell you about my last super achievement?" Or their conversations become more and more just all about themselves and what they can do, their abilities, and what they have done. And this person, like I said, we would call this person an egotist. So you have egoist and egotist. Egotist. So that one has two T's, and egoist has only one T. So the basic description is a person like, let me help you, a helper. And this person has discovered the secret of a true happiness concerning self with welfare of others. They really don't mind to indulge too much into their own interests as much. So this person, like I said, we will call this person an altruist. Number four, we have the leave me alone type, right? So the leave me alone type of person, uh, they kind of get into their own bubble. They're probing futile questions like, what do others think of me? How do I look? And maybe I shouldn't have said that. So they have these different things going on in their head. They're always examining or microscoping their every move, their every minute, their thought, their feeling, their action. So they're really an analyst type of person. They may seem unsocial, and for this person, that's a good thing. They may be shy and quiet. May be moody and unhappy at times, and they prefer solitude. So this person, we would call this person an introvert. And as we're going through this lesson, sorry, I'm halfway through the list, but as we're going through this lesson, listen to the prefixes, root words, and suffixes, and I'll explain more of that when we get further down the lesson. So type 5. Type 5 is a let's do it together kind of person. And this person could even be what you would say like a great salesman, because they can always get people interested. They can always get themselves interested, and they can be very sincere. Usually this person is the life of the party because he or she, they never worry about the effects of their own actions. This person is usually happy, generally full of high spirit, and this person will love to be around people. A lot of people, even if it's a lot of people, this is their environment. And this person, we would call this person an extrovert. Number 6 would be a neither extreme type of personality, or it would be like you and me, like they would want to be inclusive. So type 6, they're usually both introverted and extroverted. Their interests may change like normal people, and most people have this type of personality. They're both inward and outward. They can be quiet, they can be talkative, and they really incorporate both sides of personality types. So this type of personality trait, we would call this an ambivert. For number 7, you have I can't stand people kind of attitudes. And this type of personality trait can be cynical and bitter, suspicious, and they truly hate everybody. They hate everyone. The perfectibility of the human race, they despise it. They think people are stupid. They think a lot of people are crooked. They think a lot of people are mean, and in return, they dislike everybody. So this person, we call this person a misanthrope person or personality trait. Number 8 personality trait would be a person who dislikes women. Important women who may have scorned them or deeply wounded them. So now at this stage, this person's natural defense is to hate and fear all women. This person is usually a gloomy person and very judgmental. And this person, this type of trait, we would call this a misogynist. Number 9, this person would come to hate marriages. They see marriage as an institution. They see marriage as something that is holding them down. They don't see freedom from marriage, and they despise it. They are okay with female, male, or whatever interactions and communications, but the lawful responsibility of marriage, they are against it. And this person, we would call this person a misogynist. So the last one we have misogynist, Now we have misogynist. And lastly, the last type is a person who is abstinent or practice abstinence for the soul. So this type of person usually involved in self-denial, austerity, lonely contemplation. And these characteristics for this person, they see this as the good life. They don't see this as sorrow or no one wants to be around me. They see abstaining themselves from the rest of the world and the rest of what you would call maybe like spiritual or earthly or fleshly pleasures. They want to get away from those kind of things. And they believe that abstaining from earthly pleasures, fleshly pleasures, will eventually lead to spiritual and intellectual perfection. And this person, we would call this person an ascetic person, an ascetic personality trait. So real quick, so real quick, we're going to go into this activity right here, and we want to match the first column with the actions in the second column. So again, we have the words egoist, egotist, altruist, introvert, extrovert, ambivert, misanthrope, misogynist, misogynist, and ascetic. The second column reads A, turns his mind inward. B, hates marriages. C, talks about accomplishments. D, hates people. E, does not pursue pleasures of the flesh. F, is interested in the welfare of others. G, believes in self-advancement. H, turns his mind both inward and outward. I, hates women. J, turns his mind outwards. Outward. So again, go ahead and figure these out if you can, and then I'll give you the answers here at the bottom. So let's move ahead. Okay, so your answers here, number one would be, number one would be G. Number one is G, believes in self-advancement. Number two is C, talks about self-accomplishment. Number three is F, is interested in the welfare of others. Number four is A, turns his mind inward. Number five is J, turns his mind outward. Number six is H, turns his mind both inward and outward. Number seven is D, hates people. Number eight is I, hates women. Number nine is B, hates marriages. Number 10 is E, does not pursue pleasures of the flesh. Okay. So there you questions and answers there. So, all right. So part two of what I want to explain here is the origin and related words. Basically, we're resulting back to the etymology of words. As we talked about last week, etymology is learning the root word, and what learning the root word does helps you remember the word and helps you remember different words that stream from this root word, and also it helps you to understand why this word is being pronounced the way that it's being pronounced. So, oftentimes words, root words, they have a prefix and or a suffix at the end or the beginning. And what that does is it changes the meaning of the word, but having the same root definition to go back for a better understanding. A prefix is something that can be added to onto the beginning of a word, and it changes its meaning in a specific way. And of course, the suffix is the same, but it's put at the end of the word to change its meaning in a specific way. So if you take a word and you take away the prefix and you take away the suffix of the word, you will be left with what we call the root word. So out of these words that we talked about, we have uh, root words that stream from it. We have some of them that even have suffixes like ist, ist. So we want to dig deeper to figure out what are these letters made up, what do they mean, and how can we see these letters and be able to understand the next word that we're saying that we're reading or that we have to say. So for the word egoist and egotist, there's a root word stemming from that word, which is ego. Ego is a Latin word meaning I or myself. So that's why you will go on and you will read the definitions of these words, and they're both describing a personality trait that involve only I, only me, right? So when we talk about egoist is a person that what's in it for me, right? Egotist. When we talk about egotist is a person who talks about only me, only my, what I can do, right? So next root word that we have is alter. Alter will be spelled like Alter, but it's still the sounding and the same root word from the word altruist. Alter means to change. So as we talked about, uh, an altruist person. Sorry. Yeah. So as we talked about, an altruist person, they're able to they're the type of people who likes to help, right? So they want to help and they want to be in different places. So this is suitable for them for this word to have altered uh, as a root word. The next root word we have is intro. Intro means inward. Extro means outward, stemming from the words introvert and extrovert. Ambi. Ambi is a root word meaning both directions. So as we talked about ambivert, another famous or common word is ambidextrous or ambidextrous. And the last root word from these words that we have is missing. Missing is a German word. It's a German word, and it means hate. So it's a root word from the German language, and it means hate. All right, so let's go and complete this exercise here. And here you're going to indicate the definitions, whether the correct answer to each of these questions is a yes or a no. So you have to answer yes or a no to these questions. So the first question is an egoist selfish? Yes or no? Is modesty one of the characteristics of the egotist? Is an altruist selfish? Number 4, does an introvert pay much attention to himself? Number 5, does an extrovert prefer solitude to companionship? Number 6, are most normal people ambiverts? Number 7, does misanthrope like people? Number 8, does misogynist enjoy the company of women? Number 9, does an ascetic lead a life of luxury? And number 10, does a monogamist try to avoid marriage? All right. So the answers here, number 1 would be yes. Number 2 is no. Number 3 is no. Number 4 is yes. Number 5 is no. Number 6 is yes. Number 7 is no. Number 8 is no. And number 9 is no. Lastly, number 10 is yes. So you have your answers here. So the last part of this lesson is to talk about suffixes. So we're going to talk about where the suffixes make a difference. Okay, so as we see these words, once again, they have, if you want to break up the word egotist or egoist. So we talked about ego already. Ego is what? I or myself. So the next part of this egoist word is ist. Ist. Egoist. Ist. So now we have to figure out what does ist mean. Ist, obviously, if it's at the end, we will call this a suffix. If there was a word or letters in front of ego, we will call that we will call those letters the prefix. But there's no letters there, so we're just going to call ego the root word. Okay. So egoist, ist from the egoist means, or it stands for a person. So when you see ist at the end of a word, usually this must mean like a dentist or a scientist. This must be a person who's doing this thing. This must be a person who is doing this this root word. This root word or this action word is a person who's doing this. Next, after is, we have another ending, which is Y, the letter Y. Usually, at the end of a word, if it ends with Y, it is usually for a practice or an attitude. So it's usually you're practicing something or you're doing something like jealousy with a Y at the end. This person has a jealous attitude because he's displaying jealousy. And another suffix we have is it, IC, stemming from ascetic, and also us, like OU us. Usually it or us is used as an adjective to describe something, to explain something. This person did this furious, or this person was furious, or this person was energetic, right? So we use these words to describe something, to describe a person. So the next time when you see this particular word, as far as give you a better definition of this word. So lastly, the activity that I want us to focus on here is to pick the appropriate word for each description. Words with similar description may change in suffixes. So some of these words they're going to be, or some of these definitions, they're going to seem so similar. You're going to want to write the same exact answer that you wrote for one thing that says women. Oh, this one says women too, so I'm going to write the same exact thing. But this is where suffixes make a difference. So when we're seeing ist, we know that this should be a person. When we're seeing the Y, we know that this should be they're doing something. When we see when we see IC or OUS, we should know that this is an adjective. They're explaining something or describing something. Okay. So looking at this assessment here, number one says philosophy of living. Philosophy of living. I'm sorry. Where am I going here? 1 second. Trying to make sure this is the right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So here, yeah. So here you're supposed to be picking the appropriate word for each description. So not every word will go with this with each description. So for number one is philosophy of living austerely. Number two is hatred of women. Number three says hatred of marriage. Number four says hatred of mankind. Number five is describing hatred of women. Number six is pertaining to hatred of marriage. Number seven is pertaining to hatred of mankind. And number eight is one who hates the human race. So the words that we had before, I want you to utilize those words from the personality traits. So words like egoist, egotist, altruist, introvert, extrovert, ambivert, misanthrope, misogynist, misogynist, ascetic. So adding adding to those words different suffixes to fit the description from the descriptions in number 1 through 8. All right, so moving along, the answers here. Number 1 would be ascetic. Ascetic. Number 2 is misogyny. So it wouldn't be misogynist, but it's misogyny with a Y. Number 3, misogamy. Number 4, misanthrope. Number 5, misogynous. So here's one with the OUS, misogynous. Even for this one, you can also use misogynistic. Sorry about that one. So yeah, you can use misogynistic for this one as well, if you are advanced to understand or have seen this word. Number 6, misogamous. Right, so that's different. That's different from misogyny, misogynist, and misogamous. Number 7, misanthropic. And number 8, misanthropist. All right, so all right, so here's the answers here. You want to check them over. It seems like Google is tripping too because this is definitely spelled the right way, but it's still prompting me to spell it a different way. All right, so that was the end of this lesson, and just here's some words for you to, even if you're at home, you want to screenshot it just to try to pronounce some different words and to improve your vocabulary. And if you want to go even deeper, if you have a big love for words, you will probably even go into defining these words in the dictionary. All right. So that's a lesson with building your vocabulary. Hopefully, some of you start to use these words and improve your vocabulary and improve your reading, your communication, and building relationships. All right. Assalamu alaikum.